Good morning, YouTube. I good morning, you guys. Uh Last week I was so disappointed with myself for forgetting to hit the go live button, but it's so funny because you know how I usually get that little glitch in my on my screen. That glitch happened exactly at 10:30 as if to say, "Okay, press the go live button right now." So anyway, how have you guys been doing? How has your week been? Um, I'll tell you a little bit about mine. It has been so great, so great, so relaxing, and it's funny that I say relaxing because I had been busy doing a lot of work. But I tell you, one thing that really gets me. Hey, AJ, let me add her in.
Hey, good morning.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, wonderfully.
Turn this down.
I'm confused by I look like the camera is not in the center where I thought it was, so it's like
Oh, it looks good though.
all right, thank you.
Florida looks good on you.
Thank you. It has been a really fun adventure.
Yeah,
Yeah, you look really good too.
thank you. I need to go see my grandmother.
Hmm.
She's in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, but the pictures you've been sending is so beautiful.
There has been so much release and upgrade and activation happening, and
Yeah.
even around like the conversations of family members where it's like I hear stories of people in the family I'd never met when I was a kid, and I had
Mm.
certain understandings of what that meant. And then I heard more stories last night that completely uh, shifted my understanding, to like,
Really?
yeah, to like, wow, that's in my DNA. Okay. Like
Yeah.
it was really cool.
That's amazing. Hi, Erin. Thank you for joining us. It's so good to have you here. I wonder how you're doing.
I can't see the
Let me know
comments.
how you're doing.
On this app, I can't see the comments,
You
so it'll be
can't.
up to you,
Okay.
July. Yeah.
Okay. So he was just saying good morning. Yeah.
Good morning. Hi.
And I got a couple of requests too. So people are asking more about angels. I love talking about angels.
Yeah.
And also, what do we do to kind of like refill our cup? You're doing
Hmm.
well, good. So good. I love to hear that because that's what drives me.
I want to see if I can tip it if it does.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it does the same size. I love that.
Yeah.
We get a close up of your beautiful face.
I'm like I'm shaking the camera because I'm like, what angle of that do I want to sustain? But, now me looking at you is closer to me looking at the camera.
Okay.
So how do you want to start those topics that people are asking about? What would you like to do?
Yeah. So like how do we refill ourselves? Let's talk a little bit about that first because the other one we can finish probably we would probably finish the hour with. But
Okay.
like what do you do, AJ? I know like for me, I was actually getting ready to start talking about that a little bit, but not.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
How do you refill your cup?
well, I love filling my mind with others' positivity. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I was gonna say I read a lot of books, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I also noticed that I want to start reading more, like hands-on reading, like I used to, because I think that's gonna help me out more with having so much pauses when I speak, you know. But filling myself with others' positivity, that helps me so much. I know if I'm around people, which I'm not really around people, but like social media is the most that I'll take in when it comes to other people. aside from just my family within these four walls. But with social media, I try to like be very intentional about the places that I go and the people's pages that I, like surf through.
Yeah.
And of course, the number one thing, of course, is like prayer and meditation. Can't really get past that,
Yeah,
especially in
definitely.
the morning, right?
Yeah, and you know how I said that I was singing my prayers in the when I'm driving the car by myself? That
Yeah.
puts limits on it because I have to be
Mhm.
driving somewhere in the car.
Mhm.
And so this morning, and I was out for a walk and I was singing my prayers, and not at the full volume resonance power that I would
Mhm.
feel in the car.
Mhm.
But like a quiet singing.
Yeah. So you
And
won't look crazy walking down the street.
that was a little more of my comfort level for sure.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
I
so it's kind
love
of
that
like
you
what
do
you're
that in the
talking
car.
about. It's kind of what you're talking about, filling myself with positivity, and then you do
Mhm.
it with the shows that you listen to and the
Yeah.
and the other people's inspiration.
Mhm.
And for me, I've been leaning into, I know it's within me. Where is it within me? Like I had this
Mm.
epiphany that I know someone that really focuses on like I can't do this anymore. I can't do that anymore.
Aw.
And it's really interesting that in this growth mindset, we're flipping to the other way, right? Like, I
Yeah.
can, like, what else can I
Mhm.
do? And how else
Mhm.
can I expand? And
Mhm.
it's the difference between your scope narrowing or broadening.
Yeah. Um, I think the most powerful prayer that I've ever said was while I was driving.
Really?
Hmm. Immediate results, like that very same day, probably before I even got out of the car, some of the things started to happen.
Wow.
But I think that um, there's a lot to like making it audible, verbalizing the words, right?
Yeah,
It's
and
so
I
different.
didn't I didn't like that for a long time. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but I
Mhm.
was not someone, because I wanted to be able to have a prayer in the presence of people, which meant that if
Mhm.
it was audible, then they could hear it.
Right.
And yeah, it is more powerful.
Mhm.
Because I had heard that the angels don't want to get caught in the webs of our thoughts because we shoot out a million thoughts a second and they don't know which one to
Mhm.
honor. And
Oh,
basically, speaking it out loud gives that like voice intention behind it. Like, this is the one I want you to focus on.
yeah. More power. That makes so much sense. I could see that. But yeah, when you asked me about that, yeah, I was definitely of the preference of silent prayers more than, speaking them out loud. I have to almost force myself to go ahead and say my prayer, out loud so that it could have more force because I noticed, that that's what really works a lot better. Not that the other way doesn't work, but it's almost like the difference between receiving a blessing that you didn't ask for and not recognizing it as
Oh,
opposed to receiving a blessing that you did ask for. Now it's like, oh, wow, great, I got it.
that's a really, really good analogy. I like that you made that comparison because to me, that sounds like it's by saying it out loud, it's actually putting our own focus on our desire more
Mhm.
so than who in the universe needs to orchestrate it. It's like
Yeah.
telling us and telling ourselves, this is what I want to be looking out for. I like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Even just saying that out loud helps me because that was something that I used to say to people, but because I don't talk to a lot of those people anymore, I don't. Yeah, I just need. It shows me that I need to be verbalizing it more because I remember, like when I used to be around the Jehovah's Witnesses a lot, I would tell them that like you have to pray for the prayer was for your benefit, not for God. So that you would now become aware of these works in motion.
Right. It's like the power of writing something down rather than just doing the thought process. Is
Yeah.
that the mind sees it in your own handwriting And
Hmm.
so I bet it's similar where the mind hears it in your own voice and then it aligns
Mm,
it further. I hadn't thought about it in that way, but I bet that.
yeah. All
So
these frequencies, right?
how
There's
do
a difference.
you since you mentioned that you didn't you said that phrase, I had to make myself say it out loud. So I'd
Yeah.
love to hear how for you what works to make it a more enjoyable process where you don't feel like you're making yourself do it so much.
Um, it's not that it's not enjoyable because have to remind myself, but it's like how you say you're going running out there and you're probably not saying that you don't enjoy running when you don't go running, right? But
Okay.
then when you finally go, oh, like how much better it feels. And it was so funny that you said that because I told myself for 5 days I was going to do an hour of running. Yeah, and I was supposed to start 3 days ago.
An hour of running, like from 0 to an hour? Is that different? Is
Yeah.
that broken up throughout the day? I feel like go
No,
like 0 to 5 is like how I start myself.
yeah, I go from 0 to an hour. I'm so extreme, AJ. You haven't gotten to know that part of me yet.
No, there's like actually it's really funny that you bring this up because like with my running, I
Yeah,
have a mental block because I used to play water polo in high school and the teams that I
uh,
was on were never competitive.
yeah,
But I watched I was like the manager for the boys water polo team and I
yeah.
saw many of the boys push themselves so hard that they would jump out of the pool and then vomit. And
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
never personally experienced that and I don't ever want to personally
Yeah,
experience that. Like
it's not fun.
and so what I'm doing is like recognizing that they did that because their mind was pushing and their body was saying enough.
Yeah,
And for me it's completely different. My body is saying come on, let's go, and my mind is saying not so fast.
true. I am so, oh my gosh, I'm such an extreme person. I've had that happen to me, and even though what you're saying makes the like perfect sense, and I agree with you, but
Your approach is different.
when I did get to that point, what it did do, the one benefit was I bet you won't eat like that next time before you work out, or even the day before you work out. If you know you're gonna work out that hard, I'm the type of person where I prefer the hard workout rather than filling my body with anything that's gonna come up. In other
Mm.
words, even if that means I have to juice for a couple days.
I like that perspective. I could lean into that some. And
But
so
that
have you
was
done
one
that
hour.
before? Have you gone from 0 to an hour of running?
You said before what?
Have you experienced that before, like 0 to an hour of running?
Vomiting with it or just
No, just doing
oh,
it, like
yeah.
being sedentary and then doing an hour of running.
Yeah. The
Wow.
first time is the easiest because the body doesn't know what hit it. And then by the second or third time, about the third time, I'm like way less timing in my miles.
Mm.
And then my body is slowing down, like, hold on, we see where you're trying to do this.
We got to get there incrementally.
Yeah, the muscles are like, wait a minute.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think that when you are used to like being a athletic person in your life, like throughout your life, um, in your mind, you can just go back to that even when you were not moving before.
I see what you mean. See,
And
whereas I have never athletically pushed myself to my limit.
okay,
Like,
it's fun.
do you, I'm, I know that that's a mental block. Do you know the movie Gattaca?
Yeah, I vaguely remember it, but yeah.
Did I talk to you ladies about? I don't remember when I brought it up, but there's a moment where like the brothers race out into the ocean and
Hmm.
one of them always wins, and at
Yep.
some point as adults they ask like how do you always win? He's like cuz I'm not saving energy for the way back.
Hmm.
And I feel like I have always hedged my bets because the
Hmm.
sports that I did were individual. There's swimming. I mean, it was
Hmm.
water polo, but our team was never competitive, and it was
Yeah.
running. So it was things that I could control. And I was always only ever at like 80, 85%,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of cruising along.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the running, it's the stretch move of my heart saying,
Mm-hmm.
we want you to go faster.
Mm-hmm.
What are you afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? And then I think I've told you, if I slow down before my body is done going fast, I can't breathe. And it's
Okay.
literally like the only way you can breathe is you need to pick it back up again because the body is adjusting for you to be going fast right now and you've chosen to go slow. That's why it hurts.
True.
Like I'll start walking and then I get a stitch and it's like you got to be running right now.
I have some good tips when it comes to running. If you ever like, one of the things when it comes to breathing is if you can get yourself in a rhythmic breathing, that will help. So even though you don't feel like you need to, but like maybe make your breathing match your steps. So with each left, it's inhale, with each right, it's exhale. So your breathing is going to be a strong rhythm of, and just keep doing that. That part right there takes more concentration than the running.
See, and for me, it's about my body saying, "Stop trying to control your breathing." Because for me,
Oh,
across the board, even just out and about with people,
yeah.
my protection mechanism I'm discovering has been to control my breath and to go
Oh,
shallow breath to not as a way to like not take in other people's energy. I think
yeah.
kind of like you know how it is
That's
when you walk into a
interesting.
place that stinks and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna like breathe through my nose and shallow breathe." It's like that exact strategy, but all the
Yeah.
time. And so I'm too
Yeah.
in my head when it comes to breathing. And when I run, I did get to a place where it really worked when I stopped trying to be in my head about the breathing and just like
Mm.
surrender that the body knows.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that was how I did. That's how I'm able to keep up with the longevity of like the numbers of
Oh,
miles.
okay. Maybe
Because
it'll apply to me eventually, but maybe
yeah,
not. We'll
you
see.
never know. Or
Yeah.
or maybe just like what you're doing will still, continue to help you with your longevity.
I'm
But
really
yeah.
like self-conscious of how this angle is unfavorable for
Uh,
me.
no, yeah, well, do what you feel comfortable with. But yeah, oh gosh.
I'm gonna end up laying down and trying a little bit more of a, at
Yeah.
least now it's like
Look at
consistent.
the beautiful window.
I know it is really pretty, huh?
Yeah, it is. I love the arch.
Yeah, me
There's
too.
some sacred geometry going back there.
Absolutely.
And we got the sun coming in. So yeah. Um, oh, what was I gonna say? But yeah, I'm it's my time to get back into that. And that's why I had like made that goal for myself. And like I said, it was supposed to be like 3 days ago.
How can you make it easier so that you can accomplish it?
Do
What do you
it.
think the block is? The block is just not doing it. That's like me with waking up earlier. I hear it.
That's what it
You,
was like this morning, waking up early. I woke up early, but I woke up too early.
oh. So what I did for that is that my
Yeah.
mind thinks I want to be waking up at 5:30 and then I
Mhm.
eventually tapped into the future self and I asked her, "What time do I need to wake up tomorrow?"
Mm.
Cuz she doesn't want me waking up at the same time every day. And one day it was like an hour later than I thought, but then I used that I honored it. I woke up at that time and it
Mhm.
had been a super foggy morning, so I would not have enjoyed being up and running in that situation anyway.
Okay.
So rather than like have you seen that tweet like a woman, I don't know, that I like the women funny tweets.
Oh.
She was like, I set two alarms in the morning, one for the person I want to be and one for the person I am.
Oh, I never heard that. That is so cute.
But it's kind of what you do, right? Like you set,
Yeah,
like I set an alarm super early and then I set the later alarm because it's like,
that's how we
but
all are.
in that instance, it's our brain assuming what the future version of us is rather than actually tapping it in energetically and allowing
Mm.
that to guide us.
Oh my God. Say that one more time. We need and this is a clip for me.
Yeah, that it's that the I feel like there's not as much power in it. I'll try it.
Yeah.
Our mind thinks we know what the future version of us is, and it's oftentimes too rigid. And if we tap in energetically and ask that future version, what do I do right now? We're going to get variable answers day to day, like on what time to wake up. But each day
Mhm.
it's going to be very specific to what's going on, what our rest needs are, what our upgrade needs are, and what actually needs to happen.
I love that, AJ. I love that. Um, I need to start doing that. Um, the one thing that I had been doing is stepping into the that version of me and just going forward. But I don't always remember to do that,
Yeah.
you know. And it's not often enough.
Hmm.
So I like what you're saying. I want to do that too because I think that that may even happen more often. Probably, I'm thinking.
And going to the how do we refuel ourselves? None
Yeah,
of these angles are favorable, I swear. Just
it's
like
it's how it
not
is when we're on
enjoying
the
how I
phone.
not enjoying how I look today.
No,
Um,
you're fine. Do you want to turn it back to the other way?
it's really that it's my arms are not as long as I want them to be. I want it
Oh,
there, but I also don't want to hold it like that for an hour.
I know, right? Yeah.
We'll see. And then because then it'll be like a shaky clip too,
Oh,
because my
yeah.
hand will be shaking. So I'm going for stability, and then it's really funny. I'm used to taking
Listening.
selfies where I can only get this far, and then my brother's 6'4", and his arm can get like three people.
You have tall people in your family, then, huh?
A lot of tall people. I'm the shortest one in my family.
Yeah.
What about
And
you?
you're not short.
What
Yeah.
about in your family? Are the men tall in your family?
About 6 foot one, my dad, and then my brother is about 6 feet, and then my other brother is like, oh, I don't know what his height is. He's probably like 5'9", maybe. And then that's my immediate family. Everybody else is pretty much average, about 6 feet. Yeah, on my mom's side. And my dad, he only has one brother. They're about the same height. Yeah.
So, I cracked open that book again, and I've been actually rewriting my beliefs here
Yeah.
because, and this is comes from Mandy Morris. It's not mine, so I want to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
The idea of having a belief or a rule, and
Uh-huh.
like if there's a mantra of where you want to be, and then recognizing, well, yeah, I acknowledge that I want to be in a place where I believe that finances are infinite and that all the
Mhm.
money will come my way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's my goal. But if I say that to myself right now in this instant, I don't feel that. It
Right.
doesn't feel true to me.
Mhm.
And so then it becomes a process of, well, what does feel true to me that I can get on board with, that my brain can align with, that can help me there?
Yeah.
And so for me, it has been as simple as I recognize and honor and appreciate all of the financial support that comes my way.
Mhm.
Because, I'm out here in Florida right now, not at my personal cost.
Mhm.
And then noticing what I have experienced at the last day, not at my personal financial cost.
Yeah.
And, staying at a relative's house and all these things that it is already present in my life. Kind of
Mhm.
like how you were saying, when you said that you say the prayer out loud as a way to pull your attention to it, this
Yeah.
is immediately what I thought of.
Yeah.
Is like I pulling my attention to the fact that it is already there and
Okay.
that I hadn't been appreciating it.
Yeah.
And then what I've done is I've got about 6 journal pages, one for a different topic. And I allowed the topics to come to me because my mind wanted to make them very specific. And it was like, no, it's health, finances, relationships, self. That's all I need. And it was like, it wasn't health. That's weird. That wasn't in there. Home. It was another H.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So for like home, right, we're
Mhm.
manifesting this huge goal.
Mhm.
The belief that I'm on board with is that God rewards me for stepping further into my aligned self.
Okay.
And so by stepping further, I don't have the statement like God rewards me for being in my aligned self so that if I'm not there, I don't get anything, you know.
Yeah.
But like I am in the progress of stepping in my aligned self and I am rewarded abundantly for this process.
Mhm.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
And then having that belief and going, okay, I full on believe that. How am I going to treat people then? How am I going to show up? Like, you know, being in the airport yesterday, or a couple days ago with traveling with my dad, it's very easy to step into the child version of an adult, you know, parent showing you
Mhm.
where to go.
Yep.
And I kept flipping the mindset to how would I show up in this moment as already a public figure?
Oh, I love
So I
that.
was like traversing the airport as like I am a public figure.
Yes.
And it's a different mindset. And I
Mhm.
believe that. I full on believe that's where we're going.
That's
So
a
it's,
shift in dimensions when you do that.
yeah. And so that question about fill your cup, this brings me a lot of joy
Yeah.
because it's about, you know, where do I want to apply myself right now?
Mhm.
And it's taken a long time to disentangle because as a doer and as a high achiever, I feel like it's very easy for me to have a list of do this, do this, do this, do this, and then just get
Mhm.
overwhelmed.
Mhm.
I don't know about you. And
Yeah.
so I feel like I'm finally in a place, and especially here this weekend, like it's just a whole deeper level of appreciation.
Yeah. I know what you mean. And I do, I can relate to all of that. I can even relate to what you said about Mandy. That's the same thing that I have been um, like trying to arrange in my life is to, okay, I'm not there yet. So, what makes me more comfortable, like inching toward it where I'm almost there and now I'm more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit
Yeah. And you know, especially I just had a huge epiphany
more.
because we're both very extreme people. And to
Mhm.
use your running as an analogy,
Yeah.
is that I think it's very easy for me and probably you as well
Hmm.
to immediately want to jump to that full goal.
Hmm.
And then each day wait and wait and wait until we get there and
Yeah.
have that huge step of improvement. And this is a instance or a perspective where if we hang out down there waiting for the full embodiment, it takes a lot longer.
Hmm.
And it's almost like being okay doing it a little bit differently than we know how we're wired in other ways. How do
Yeah.
does that I mean, I'm speaking
Yeah.
to myself here, but does that feel like it
Hmm.
fits for you
That's,
too?
yeah. And also, I was thinking about when you were talking about that. I have this thing where I'm like, how you like you were just saying, we want to be there like right now, and we sometimes we'll do whatever is that extreme to get there, but knowing that we can only do what's humanly possible, sometimes we have to pace ourselves. That's I've never Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit personal. So my whole thing with like weight loss and being active or being fit, I know how to do it really fast, but sometimes I'm very unreasonable. And it can be like circumstances it may not even allow. Like if for me to have to go driving every day, I can't do what I need to do to recover when I'm being so extreme,
Mm,
because there's no recovery behind the wheel of that car. you can't you can't relax your muscles, or you can't be in the steamy hot shower, or no, you're getting more sore in there, stiff
mm,
driving for hours, right? um, you can't do what you need to do in terms of drinking the amount of water you want to have daily, because now you have to stop and go to the bathroom every half hour that you're driving. That doesn't work. So like for me, um I just like I get sometimes I'll even get frustrated, right? I'll think I'm not where I want to be, even in increments. But then like this morning I noticed like this bra. it kept sliding down off my shoulders because it's too loose. And
Mhm.
I had to adjust the strap, and it's like, so why am I feeling like,
So
why
you were getting the feedback of like, but you are going that direction.
you are,
Oh, there's the angels for you.
yeah, and be patient, right?
Yeah. The you say be patient,
Hmm. I have none.
knowing you said a couple things. I actually I'm going to respond to what you said first before I go my
Hmm.
other direction.
Hmm.
So it sounds like what you have with your exercise, like where you said you know how to get there fast,
Yeah.
is that you have like a template that
Hmm.
has worked in the past
Hmm.
that doesn't currently fit with other expansion areas in your life.
Yeah.
So you could approach that as like, okay, so how does the template need to change
Yeah.
so that you could do everything?
Hmm. And
Yeah.
I I know that I'm supposed to be doing that, but as an extreme person who is spoiled, I'm so hard on myself.
I love how you're like, I own it, and it's
I
like a
am
very rigid spoil.
very, very.
Yeah,
And so then,
I relate to that so much.
right? The problem is realizing that you have to understand that doing it the adjusted way is good enough and sufficient, and it's not something to be disappointed about,
Yeah.
right?
And I even see it as an improvement. Like,
Do you? Yeah.
yeah, because that template, like if we stick on this example, that template
Mhm.
worked in a time in your life where you had one thing going on
Yeah.
that could have all this care and this like perfection and like bespoke, like,
Yeah.
basically. And now you have two things going on.
Yeah.
So I view it as expanded rather than settling.
I like that. Yes. Fix me, AJ.
Because now you can pamper yourself in both ways.
Yes.
You
Expand
can,
it.
yeah. The other, so I had those category beliefs, the home, was
Yeah.
it home, relationships, finances, and self. And then I had a big one this morning,
Yeah.
time and
Time.
clocks.
Oh.
And let me tell you, because I come from a family where it's like, even at my uncle, it's so funny because my dad and my brother, no, no, my dad and my uncle are 14 years apart, so they weren't in
Mhm.
the home at the same time per se. But like my sister said, it's like copy paste, like looking at their mannerisms.
So funny.
And so they're very similar. And so sitting here watching two versions of it,
Yeah.
reminding me like a lot of that get there on time, this is how you have to, it's very, but almost to like a level, I had taken that on almost to a level of anxiety, right? Like if I'm
Oh.
not there on time, blah, whatever. So even
Mhm.
I went on a walk 2 hours ago
Mhm.
with this call on my mind,
Yeah.
and then feeling like I had either nothing to do from that point to the call or
Mhm.
stressed out that I had to watch the clock.
Mm.
And so I pulled out the journal and I'm like, okay, what are my rules around clocks and time?
Yeah.
And how can I shift this?
Mhm.
And what I wrote was clocks are a tool because schedules, I mean, you've heard my resistance of around scheduling,
Yeah.
my life with my kids.
Mhm.
Clocks and schedules are a tool to help me be accountable for where I want to go.
Okay.
And then I looked back on it was really around junior high, which again, my
Mhm.
older daughter is about to go through, where it's, all of a sudden I'm responsible for getting from one class to the next, can't be
Mhm.
late, time pressure, 5 minute class, all that stuff
I
that
remember.
really, yeah, really started to instill the, you know, like I'm beholden to the clock
Mhm.
and the clock runs my life.
Oh, wow.
And so I went extreme the other way with like no schedules, nothing, all free form. And that
Yeah.
was good as a decompress. Talk about what I
Mhm.
wanted. That's what I want in my life forever.
Yeah.
And I've expanded now to
Mhm.
hold myself accountable to what I've said to you. I've expanded. I have that free form and I have goals where I want to be. And so
Yeah.
the clock is a mechanism to help me get there. And
Mm.
if I'm late to something, it's like what I say, like the clock and the schedules are mechanisms to help me get to where I want to be, and God makes sure I'm always where I need to be.
Mm.
And that last part was like a surrender aspect that I needed. so that
Yeah.
if I'm ever running late, it's not that I have failed to show up to where I need to be.
Hmm.
It's that I've been redirected for a reason that's beyond my current knowing.
Mm. I like that too. I have something I want to tell you, but I got to pause for a second.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. Oh, I get to talk to the clock today. Okay, so the camera. So this is my chance to check in. What is this little whisk going on right here? This brow, it's just all my deep thinking. I'm constantly wanting that to like relax. Like if you look at July's face, she doesn't have that at all. There are so many people that don't have that. I'm sitting here wanting to engage from my heart so that I don't have that, because that also started showing up in middle school with the pride in my intellect and thinking hard and wanting to. I'm talking about this like furrowed brow and how I want it. Look at yours, how you're like super like I love how yours is like relaxed.
Oh, oh, what the camera?
This this
Oh, my
this is I have been like so self-conscious of this for like 2 years trying to, because again I had a belief that I'm not relaxed until that goes away.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, probably. But I don't think that has anything to do. And it's just a character.
But I had assigned it like then I'm too much in my brain and that I'm physically blocking the third eye and that
Oh,
the only
no.
way to get there is to be all in my heart. So I've viewed this as negative feedback that I'm not where I want to be.
Ah, I see it as just the opposite. Whenever my attention is called to that area of a person's face,
Mm.
that's drawing me into their third eye.
Hmm.
And I think that for me, if I'm called to their attention there, that's something very spiritual going on with them, is how I see it, in a good
Okay. You're giving me ways to think about it where I'm not feeling bad about it, so I appreciate
way.
that. I'll find a version of it that I like that.
Yeah.
I like those different perspectives. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Like I just noticed, and it's funny because I saw a post not too long ago on TikTok. I'll forward it to you later. I'll
Okay.
DM it to you. But it was a really good post talking about like our third eye and sacred geometries and stuff, and how they're always in like in motion. There's always
Mm,
something going on, with it. I just saw
okay.
that post not too long ago. But anyway, I was gonna tell you so about time, right? You know how like in my little conversation, I love how I had. Remember I told you my other part of my biography is conversations with God, but the other guy had that title. I've really been drawn to him, and
Really?
I had no idea that he was the one who was the author of that book.
What?
Yep. And I think that is very interesting. So anyway, so like how my conversations have always been, oh my God, I love you so much. Okay, good. Now love yourself. And please
Yeah.
forgive me. Well, forgive yourself. Like everything is always directed back at me. So when I think this is pretty deep, and of course it's going in the book, but I do want to share this with you because I feel like it has something to do with time. But I've always been the type of person that just really enjoys worshiping God, all the way to the point where it's like sometimes I just want to get on my hands and knees when I'm praying. Just like, and pouring my heart out and giving praises and all that kind of thing. Like, I feel this deep connection when I'm able to do that. And if I'm not able to do that, or if there are things like certain rules set, like within a religion, where they say you can and can't do these things, and then they make me feel like they're taking away from that feeling of being
Mm.
able to connect and worship the way that I choose to worship, then it would make me feel as though I was at a loss. So I was back in that type of prayer where I was like giving those kinds of praises. And again, it was now praise yourself. And none of us do that enough. We don't respect our like the God within us, I feel, enough to where it helps us to be what we need to be like for each other.
Mhm.
Like sometimes we take for granted the things that we're um, able to do, the abilities that we have when it comes to loving each other, um, providing encouragement for each other, all that kind of stuff. Like, say, like when people compliment you on things, and sometimes you don't really look at it like the way they're intending to reach you. And when you take it for granted, sometimes it makes you be a little bit less than. Does that make sense? Because I found myself being that way. And
It's so funny you said that, and then
yeah.
my phone dimmed a little bit as soon as you said less than.
Oh wow.
And I don't know why. Probably because the
It's 11,
battery.
11.
Oh, but I think it was the feedback of you're literally dimming your own light when you're not receiving that praise.
Yeah, and
I
it
feel so
also,
good as you're talking about this. I'm like
yeah,
vibing really high.
it feels good to talk about it. Like I feel that energy ball again.
Hmm.
I feel like sometimes I don't take enough time to take it all in and to take it as seriously as our maker wants us to take it,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
that's like with the running, it's very easy, and I have done this for many years, to
Yeah.
kind of be the less than all in submissive
Yeah.
deliverer of the command in the head. So like
Mhm.
with the breathing, run harder. Okay, I'll run
Mhm.
harder. But that very active, like, okay, fine, I'll do it because I know I'm supposed to. That already is dishonoring it because there is resistance in that.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of joy and excitement of this process. And my sister asked, "How long did you run yesterday?" And I said, "I don't know. My goal was I honoring myself more often than not?"
Yeah.
Because I'm excited when it works, and I'm excited how it feels. And I have excitement in this practice of honoring my body, and the running is how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's saying run harder, and like, okay, where's it gonna go? Let's see how this
Yeah.
goes.
I'm
And having
feeling
that,
things.
yeah, having that full excitement. Okay, so y- you know how I've been connecting back to my Celtic roots.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So my dad is half Irish, so each
Okay.
of his
Yeah.
parents are half Irish.
Mhm.
And I found out last night the version of, oh, I didn't know that was within me.
Yeah.
His mom, who passed when I was like 3 or 4, so I only have one memory of her.
Yeah.
And I have one memory of her, and she was older, so I,
Yeah.
through a child's eyes, was not the most.
Is that who we spoke to in Sedona?
No, that was my mom's
That
mom.
was your mother. Okay. Okay.
This is my dad's mom.
Okay.
Turns out she was full on like kind-hearted.
Aw.
Yeah, I didn't know that about her until last night. Just like
Yeah.
full on, like like seeing the best in everyone.
Mhm.
And then, how I asked my dad, I said, "Well,
Next Wednesday.
did you witness any did she ever get swindled? Were there ever any negative
Mhm.
consequences from this?" And
Mhm.
he was like, "No." I'm like, "That's okay, that's in my DNA. I'm going to call that
Yep.
forth more."
I see that. When we were given our gifts or told, what Oliver saw in us, I was shocked that yours wasn't AR.
Oh, probably just because it was what to focus on now.
Yeah. And I knew that, like, I saw in you what your dad says about his mom.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm like, she's definitely, has the angelic realm.
Because there's a
With,
lot in my head that was keeping me out of that. A lot of the voice I needed to heal, and that I
hmm.
continue to heal.
Yeah.
So it was nice because, the version of it that we had really seen embodied in this realm, or for me, the closest
Yeah.
I had really. And so
Uh-oh.
that was like am I still there?
Yeah, now you are. Okay, say that last part again.
No, if it didn't come in on the live, it's not meant to.
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
That's good. Yeah,
Okay.
so rather than seeing that from an external source and trying to map it on,
Hmm.
recognizing, because I was feeling in my head, I was feeling responsible, like I was the first one in my extended family knowledge to be doing that.
Okay.
So I was taking on a lot of, it's me, this is new, I'm forging a path. And now it's, yeah, it's me and it's other people in the family line too. I can bootstrap that. I can be supported
Yeah.
by that. I can call it in. And it just, the epiphany of, oh, like just felt so relaxing to me.
I think we had that in common. I want to say about 3 days ago, I received the download that I was to bypass my immediate ancestors, the ones that I, lived here on earth with, and skip over and go beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Because it
Yeah.
takes away any of the mind and memory of who your family is by definition.
And it took away it took that away. And it also took away like things dealing with health,
Mm.
to not feel like I was going to just, this is hereditary, well, which we
Oh,
already know it's
nice.
not, right?
Right.
But just the memory of them, I kept remembering this memory that I had of my dad's mom. And I can't say the memory per se, but the fact that the memory kept coming to mind, just the memory in and of itself was enough to make me um, put the thought in my mind about a certain disease
Uh-huh.
that and it's like, it doesn't have to be in the genes.
Right. It's only there because it hasn't been cleansed yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so empowering. I'm happy for you that you received that download because
Yeah,
that must just have lifted a huge weight for you.
it really did. It really did. And I can feel it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love her so much. And
Hmm.
no disrespect, I didn't mean anything like, when I say bypass, I mean like
Yeah, just
turn
like
my,
consider a broader picture.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Same, same.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. It's not a
yeah,
rejection of like,
right,
you all are insufficient. Let me go to the prime, which,
right.
was like, I mean, that came to me so easily because
Yeah,
that was a, yeah, but like, I mean, because last night I was even like, I was just in awe that that was so close.
yeah, that is so
So
beautiful.
close. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I've been thinking about that too with my mother's mom. She's still alive. She's like 90
Oh,
now
this is the grandmother you said
in
you want to
Florida.
visit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She yeah, she was pretty much described just like your grandmother. That's how she is. Like people, I had never seen my grandmother get mad, like ever, raise her voice or any of that. And I had thought about it again recently because I was thinking to myself, like, because when I see myself on camera, I see my mom, and especially when I'm talking, I hear my mother. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if it freaks my brothers out. But anyway, um, I was thinking to myself, like, who in the family talks and acts like grandma? My mother didn't. She's nice, she was nice, but she wasn't like just sweet and
Thank you for saying it in such a kind way because I was alluding to basically I didn't know that was so close in my family.
yeah, like
And that because that's why I asked him. I asked both of the
yeah,
guys. I was like, "So, did you witness her like get hurt? Like,
right,
basically, why aren't you guys like this?"
yeah,
But everyone chooses the path, and that was also
yeah,
really profound for me. Was that because it also helps me alleviate some of the pressure I have on myself of I
yeah,
have to be perfect for my daughters to have a perfect life, is that you
mhm,
can have a mother who is that way and
yeah,
you could still have children to choose a completely different path.
yeah,
Right? Your mom chose, she grew up with that and then she chose her expression in a different
mhm,
format.
mhm,
And so in a way, there was nothing your grandmother could do to
yeah,
force that upon someone who's not going to choose it.
right. This life is just amazing. The information that we have is golden, and to be able to share it with our children and even share it with our audience is like
Yeah.
just so priceless, you know? And it makes life worth living.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I miss Kay. I miss her. I was hoping we would hear from her today, but I'm
Yeah.
so glad that she's taking the time that she needs.
Yeah. Because we
And
know what
I
that
miss,
feels like on the other side
yes,
and what it did for us in an empowerment way.
yes,
Yeah. So just to reiterate for people, like this is
yeah,
a take what you need, come back when you're ready.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. We have to do what feels right. This conversation has made me feel so good. Like I'm so motivated now to
Oh,
go
nice.
running. Yeah, I'm very motivated to go running, and I feel like we're probably gonna motivate each other.
Yeah.
You know,
Accountability partners.
yeah, well, even not even accountability partners, but like just knowing, like by you saying that you were, it almost put shame
Oh,
on me for not fulfilling what I had promised myself. But not, and I realized, no, this is not shame. These are the angels telling you that now look, now your friend is doing it. So get your butt out there.
I love that you're mentioning the angels too, because I'm looking at the clock and I want
Yeah,
to, for my
yeah,
family, I want to honor maybe another
yeah,
10 minutes.
definitely.
So I love that you're, because people might think that angels always mean like, oh, the
Right.
light. And like, what you just did is you gave an example of a feeling of maybe discord or
Hmm.
lack of alignment as the
Hmm.
cue.
Yep.
So, what are some instances? Can you think of examples where
Mhm.
you, in your current enlightened state, are mindful and grateful that it's the angels, but maybe other people who would witness you engaging with it might not so quick be so quick to call it angels?
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, I'll give you one example. People think that this is just technology, but when you created that post the other day or about a week ago about technology and how it comes in on these videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like for me, it's frequency. Everything is frequency. Even when it comes to stuff like that, like some people may call it aliens, some people look at it as angels, and but for me, it's all a matter of frequency, vibration, potency, and what you are connecting to. So, like for me, even though technology seems to flicker or waver, that's because frequency is affecting it. It is indeed affecting it. So that's, I look at it like you do, like the way we all, me, you, Kay, and people like us, the way
Like
we
how
do.
I had tried to name a name and then it glitched and the name didn't come through. And
Yeah,
if we weren't mindful of angels or frequency, we might have I might have persisted and tried again.
yeah,
Or like I was ordering pizza last night. We were doing a delivery app, and I was doing gluten free, so I chose
uh-huh.
the they had two gluten free options, and I chose the cauliflower
Mm.
crust.
Was
And
it good?
what happened was the app immediately exited out, and so I went back in and I chose the other one, and my aunt got the cauliflower crust and it was completely crunchy, which would not have been doable for me with my braces. And the
Right.
one that I ended up with was doughy and pleasant and joyful for me. And so
Mm.
it was the difference of, okay, this app shut out for a reason. I ordered fig sauce as like the on the thing and it didn't come, and I laughed and went, I guess I wasn't meant supposed to have fig sauce, you know.
Yeah.
And going with it rather than, oh, I got to call them and, create a resistance around this.
All because you're conscious of it. That
What
really helps. Mhm.
Besides technology or frequency, what are other examples for you?
Um, I would say just let's see if I can come up with one direct. People that I am put into contact with, especially like on social media, who end up, um, I have, I'm able to help them fulfill a certain need. Um, and then the synchronicities of timing and all of that, Whereas other people just, I feel that this is something that had been arranged by the angels
Yeah, that's a
and
good
is
one.
very deliberate. Whereas other people may just say, it's just a coincidence or something like that.
So that goes directly to my practicing of receiving. Like, so for
Mhm,
example, um, when my dad flies, he likes to use the club at the airport. So we were at the
mhm,
club, and there was a gentleman walking by with 2 bags of chips, and I was inquiring where he received those from because I didn't see them for the food selection that I was right in front of me.
yeah.
And he said, "Oh, they're all the way around the corner." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Here, take one." And he just put it
Mm,
on the table. And I said, "No, no, no, thank you. That's okay." And then I caught myself going, "This is an instance where I have been gifted something I didn't ask for. I will practice receiving it in gratitude." And so
mhm,
that would be an instance where if I wasn't mindful of the angels or the frequency or the orchestration under the
yeah.
surface, I could have been, "No, I didn't ask for that. Why did you give that to me?" I could have been with the
Mhm,
flight attendant who turned on the light for me while I was reading. "No, actually, I don't want that." And I just had a conversation with my dad about how I don't want the light on, and instead I
mhm.
was joyful that he reached over and turned it on my behalf.
Yeah.
So little things like that. And I was basking in it. And my dad was like, "Oh, you turned it on now?" And I'm like, "No, he turned it on for me, because my dad
Yeah,
had done the dad thing, which is like, you need the
yeah,
light on, you're going to
yeah,
strain your eyes. And I was,
yeah,
did the kid thing, which is like, "No, I got plenty of light. I'm fine,
yeah.
you
That
know?
was I could see
Um,
my mom doing that. Have
and then,
you oh, no, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, just little things like that. Like,
Yeah,
this was a gift. I'm trying to think of other things where like my schedule was oh, here's one.
yeah.
2 times yesterday I sat out back, and both times there was like a loud leaf blower the entire time.
Oh,
And the first time I was able to have a joyful nap. And
yeah.
even the scent of the gasoline from the leaf blower was reminiscent. And
Mhm,
it took me to a memory of being on a lake and like learning how to water ski with like the boat fumes in my face. Like, it was a
mhm.
very pleasant memory that it took me
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And then the second time I went out hours later wanting a moment of peace, and the neighbors were cutting down like a tree, so the chainsaw kept going. And I
Oh,
was so annoyed by it because
yeah,
again, I want quiet. I'm frustrated, My neighbors at home always drive by with the low bass that's like shaking that house. That's really annoying when I want peace and quiet. And I
uh-huh,
took it as a moment to say, "Okay, I want peace and quiet. Everything out here is peaceful except this one loud constant noise. Let's
yeah,
pull out the journal. How does this relate to the world within that is projecting the world without?
mhm,
What is that loud constant noise inside of me that is really preventing me from optimal peace? That is
mhm,
the one key." And you know what I came to
mhm,
was in my homeschooling, in our career, in our building the GI, it
yeah,
all came to the rule that I had around being successful and needing external validation because I was used to that in a school and a job setting. And my girls, as children, are not responsible for that, and they're not going to deliver it. And as
mhm,
entrepreneurs, of course, there aren't people who are accountable in your day to day to give it to you.
yeah,
And so, again, the rule that I want to be at is that I trust that if I'm taking steps from a positive space, that I'm doing the right thing. And
mhm,
that's where I want to be, but I'm not quite completely embodying that yet. So, the
mhm,
next rule down that I built for myself was something along the lines of, I'm in the process of learning, or I'm in the process of embodying that from pure intentions and pure actions, I trust that everything is in place, or something like that.
yeah,
Something where it was, I'm in the process and I'm expanding, and that felt good. And
yeah,
then the leaf blower stopped, and it would
uh,
stop. It would stop whenever I was journaling and I would get to a certain place. Is like, and then it would pick up again. It's like, okay, so there's something heavy in that thing that I just wrote,
yeah,
and using it as feedback and a dance rather than this like feeling of trapped that I can never get peace in my world.
yeah. I love that feedback part. Yeah, looking at it as feedback. And you reminded me of have you heard of that poem called The Cookie Thief that Dr. Wayne Dyer
No.
recites a lot?
Uh-uh.
It wasn't his poem, but yeah, look it up and maybe
Okay.
I'll read it next week. But anyway, it's a good poem about the cookie thief. You reminded me of that, even though it wasn't your exact experience, but still, just like it kind of goes hand in hand with some of the things that we're all wanting to work on within ourselves. And the one last thing I wanted to say was when I was talking about my conversations with God and having that part about honoring ourselves, like really honoring who we are.
Yeah.
I was relating it to what you were saying about time. We can learn to
Oh,
honor time, both aspects of it. Both,
rather than okay, say more because my mind went a different
yeah.
direction.
So from staying within certain guidelines that we want to stick to as far as goals on time, and also being more loose with allowing ourselves to do what we want and not so much staring at the clock.
Yeah,
And
like the
we
time is it's a
honor it.
dance, just like
It's a dance.
yeah. Oh, I
It's
like
a
that.
dance.
That the time is a dance partner. It's not in control of me.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
you know it's
it's a gift. It's a gift because it's we know it's illusionary, but we can use it to our advantage. So we can use
yeah.
it on both ends of the spectrum.
Because that was a big block that I had. So there's with the sleeping arrangements, my dad and my sister's also here. I
Hmm.
said, you know, I'll take the couch because I'm the only one without a 9 to 5.
Hmm.
And I inspected that phrasing that came out of me later because it was not a judgmental phrasing.
Uh,
It wasn't judgmental. It wasn't, you know, those words came out for a reason.
mm,
And so part of the inspecting the out by the pool the other day was, um, would I be comfortable being on
mm,
task and being held to a schedule? And I said yes for a
mhm,
project. And I'm imagining, you know, some of these Hollywood projects that have come through on visions and manifesting, and those are big projects that require
mhm.
timelines and goals. And I love timelines and goals in that
Yeah.
context. And then I stepped further and I wrote, okay, so how can I do this immediately with homeschooling? And
Mhm.
going further, and for us it's a matter of tying it to a deliverable, to use that language,
Yeah.
having an output of all the
Mhm.
exploration that we're doing, and really leaning into that funness of, like, my daughter is so excited to create a poster board with everything she's learning about murder. Like,
Oh,
when
really?
she wants to create a poster board and I want to create a poster board because it'll be a lot of
Yeah.
fun,
Uh-huh.
and actually setting a deadline to do that so that we return to it rather than it being a floating goal that we never really follow up on.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Cool.
so much shifting.
Yeah.
Do we have people in the
Yeah, it's just another one more comment and they're saying happy Sunday to us.
Oh, thank you. Happy Sunday.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I enjoyed this and I'm so glad that you did it in spite of your little mini vacay
Yeah, thank
on
you.
holiday. So
Absolutely. And I'm
thanks.
happy to return to them as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love you so much, AJ.
I love you too, July.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your stay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. See you later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Sunday. And thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys so much. Love you guys so much.